this is our first live performance since 2019, December of 2019. That we managed to pull back. We've done things, we kept the program alive, we did videos, we did concerts, YouTube things, but this is the first time that we're going to actually play for an audience again. We used to do it out there on stage, but being that we're just getting back, I figured, smaller room would be more intimate. Afterwards, you can talk to us, ask questions, make comments. No, don't make any comments. Just keep it yourself, especially you. Anyway, this piece, the first piece we're going to play, Percussion on the Prowl, it's from the Paul Price era, and I'll tell you about Paul Price later on, why he's so important in relationship to Kean University. The piece is called Percussion on the Prowl, and this is a kind of typical percussion piece where you have all the typical instruments. Aiden over there has gongs, and he has a cymbal, and Ryan over here has tom-toms, and Theo has bongos and tambourine, Pat has the snare drum, and the busy guy, well actually we have Tom Hicks playing timpani, but the busy guy back there is Edward Garcia. He's got the tambourine, he's got the triangle, he's got the chimes, and he's got the bass drum. So in this piece, Percussion on the Prowl, lots of times we associate percussion with marching, right? Marching percussion. So this is kind of like a kind of sideways view of percussion marching by saying it's percussion on the prowl. So it kind of starts out quietly. It kind of gets into introducing all the instruments, and everybody has a little bit of solo. And then toward the end of the piece, it's like as the day bursts wide open, you hear the ringing of the chimes. Midnight comes and everything starts to quiet down, and then the one instrument that represents darkness in the percussion ensemble you will hear as a solo, and you'll hear it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. So this is Percussion on the Prowl by William Anslinger. Gentlemen, are anybody's awake? Any of you guys sleep? Let me come over here. Maybe better.
Are you blocking jokes?
Oh, here we go. tuba major. Pat is international business.
Global business.
Yeah, global business. Tom is an alumna of the university, and Edward is also a tuba major. So there are actually no percussion majors. The euphonium, same thing. It's a big brass instrument. So none of the guys in this group right now are percussion majors, as is Tom's an alum, but you know, this group it's made of good musicians. Speaking of musicians, I mentioned Paul Price, but this was from the library of Paul Price. When I first came to the university, I find this in a file cabinet. It says Paul Price. Now, if you don't know who Paul Price is, this group right now, and every group in the country like this, every group in the world like this would not exist, because Paul Price is the progenitor of the modern percussion ensemble. When no one considered percussion to be a solo entity, that you could actually make music with just percussion instruments, Paul Price said, you know what? You can do this. You can put these instruments together, and they can create music just as any ensemble can. So Paul Price taught here at Kean. It was Kean College back then. But it was in the 1970s. He later on went to teach the Manhattan School of Music in New York, where he established a group that worked for the State Department and toured the world, a percussion ensemble like this. He has recordings. Books. When I was a kid, I had a book he wrote on how to play tambourine, castanets, and triangle. In those days, it's like, what do you need to know to play those instruments? But Paul Price realized that there was a value in the detail of playing those instruments, and that's how this group came to be. That's why all the instruments we play with this kind of musicality, they can be played by non-percussionists because these guys are good musicians. So that said, we're going to do another piece called The Winding River. Very Asian sounding piece. It's got a very special quality in it. There's a sort of, there's my world music background, there's a Japanese mode called In. It's a pentatonic mode that actually has a half step in it. Okay, so there's going to be a test on that later on, so just remember that. But it gives a character to this piece that makes it sound distinctly Asian. So you'll hear some of the gongs and the cymbals that do that, and the tempo blocks that Pat's playing also do that. And the mallet instruments in the front here, they are the ones that you'll hear that mode, that character, that Asian character. This is The Winding River by Tom O'Connor. Not Dr. Connors that teaches here. Different Tom. Different Tom O'Connor. That's an inside music department joke. Sticks. And I decided, because this is an Asian piece, I have bamboo sticks that I got to split down the middle to kind of create a sound. Winding River. Hicks on the timpani. Tom Hicks, also Tom Hicks has been a huge help to me this past year because we initiated a drum line back in the fall. And we had never had a drum line here before. That was a whole new adventure. And it was so new, as a matter of fact, and it was really new because I really don't know anything about drumline. So the thing I did know is get people in here that do know about drumline, and let's get them incorporated. Colin Bell, another alum, really a great asset to what we started here in the fall. It was just really, for me, to just do something new, to work with these young people like this, it's a great experience. I mean, it keeps me, yes, you need something? Okay.
Just checking if you're okay.
Hanging you on by a thread.
I worry about it.
So yeah, we have the drum line, and we have a lot of new things that we're working on these days here at the university to kind of to revitalize it, to make the music department fresh and to do things that people are interested in and students are interested in performing and hearing. So we're working on several things. I mentioned that the last concert we did was in 2019. On that concert, we had a young man in the ensemble that some time later passed away. He was a student here, Francisco Cabrera. And on that concert in 2019, he performed a solo by a French composer, Emmanuel Sejourné. And the solo was called Catamaya for marimba. And Tom came to me and said, I've never played the piece before, but wouldn't it be great if we could restart our live performance with a performance of this piece? And I'll learn the piece and I'll play it. And it would be just something to keep the torch burning for Francisco Cabrera, who was just an integral part of the program. Everybody liked him. He got along with everybody. He was a terrific musician. And life is short. Tom Hicks is going to play Catamaya for you. He's going to say a word or two about it.
Hi guys, I'm Tom. I'm an alumni of this University Ensemble. This is Catamaya by Emmanuel Sejourné, and it's dedicated to Francisco and my grandfather.
has always been a tradition in these percussion ensemble concerts is to feature one of the performers from the group. We had percussion majors here. We had up to 12 percussion majors, and I always like to give them an opportunity to stand out in front and get really nervous and play a solo. And you know, any of my students will tell you, the ones that have stood out there, you know, you can practice that thing 5 hours a day by yourself in the room, and boy, when you stand out and you can hear a pin drop and there's, you know, 30, 40 people in the room, it's really, it's nerve-wracking. So that's really something that Tom was able to put the piece together in that short amount of time. Come on in, Charles. Come on in, make yourself comfortable. You know this room, Charles. It's so great to see all these alums here. The next piece we're going to do for you, I don't know what I can call it a piece. It's a revelation. It's an event. This year, for some reason, and I've never done this before, the secretary said to me, there was some extra money in the budget here, you know, for the instrumental program. Do you need anything? And I said, you know what? I've never bought any African drums. I don't have any African drums. So I went out and bought a bunch of African djembes that are from the west coast of Africa, like Mali, Senegal, Guinea, Ivory Coast, and I bought some doom drums that accompany those. Now, this is music for dancing. These are in the West African tradition, and the piece we're playing is called Libertades from Guinea in Africa. And it's really like a suite of things. So there are these kind of like themes that we all play together, and then there's a call. And you'll hear this call happen all the time between the player and myself. It's how we start the piece. In West Africa, we don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. They wouldn't know what that meant. That doesn't have anything to do with music. But when you go, everybody starts going, boo-goo, they know what that means. It's a language, right? It's a way of communicating through the drums that is more of a language than it is a musical idea. As a matter of fact, there is no real, in Africa, there isn't a concept of music. Music exists in a constellation of the arts, which involves singing, dancing, and drumming. So all those things go together. So as we play this piece today, if you're so inspired to get up and dance, I hope you will, because we're having such a good time that, I mean, we get up and dance and we have a great time. So I think you're really going to enjoy this. It's the first time that I've been able to introduce the Kean University djembe, a West African djembe ensemble. Come on, everyone. So, before we begin, I want to bring your attention to some new people here up on the quote-unquote stage with us. Maria Seidel. Destiny Wise. Pedro Aspiros. One night we had a rehearsal, and Aiden walks in, and he said, hey, Professor Muffs, I have some other people that want to play in the group. Bring them in, let's play. We have enough drums for everybody. So as this kind of drumming is considered community drumming, it's always welcoming. And like I said, it's part of a constellation of arts where people are expected to sing along and dance, clap, and just have a good time. I mean, if you're not moved by this, I don't know what moves you. So by the way, these are in the back. These are called junjuts. He actually has that's called the kenkemi. This is called the sangba, and this is called the dumdumba. So these are really like the engine room. These are going to groove through the whole time. And everybody else is up there. They're playing parts, and then they're playing solos. And when people are playing solos, other people are accompanying, right? So we're going to have a good time right now. I told my wife last night, I am so excited to do this. This is just going to be so much fun. Fun, but we worked really hard. We spent a lot of time, hours sitting here every night practicing. Okay? came, and I have to say, I'm gonna get really corny and say that it's been such an honor in my life to be able to do this for a living. I have been able to live my long life playing the drums and supporting my family and teaching. But the really great thing, besides everything, the honor that I've had to do all this, the real blessing has been working with students, the students that I see here. I mean, it's been really I guess that was the course that I was destined to take. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you all for coming. I hope to see you again. Anybody have any questions, or you want to come up and play anything? Feel free. That's why it's a small thing. Come up and check it out. See why Destiny's got bandages on her hands. Why Ryan goes, everyone's complaining, Professor Musto. The next day our hands are sore from playing. Like the violin comes out. Yeah, a whole life I have a hand that look like alligators. A whole life of doing this. So yeah, I have no sympathy. But I tell everybody, it only hurts until it sounds good. And when it starts to sound good, you forget it hurts. No more pain. So it's a really great thing. So that's us. Come up and say hi.